Hi everyone, this is Justalowly Channel, or JLC to make it easier.
Thank you, Max, for that marvelous introduction.
I thought I would finally get down to answering some Q&A questions. I've done this before, but it's been a while. It's always good to do a new one when there's new subscribers and it's been a bit of time so people can find questions to ask you.
Duh.
If you see me looking down, it's because I printed them off. I'm a list type person, so makes it easier. Good question. I think, and this is not doing them as reactions, just sitting down and just watching them. I think The Untamed, Word of Honor, and not me. I think, I think Gunn always sticks in my mind. I do really like what he brings forward. And then for non-BL, I do love Viola Davis and Meryl Streep. Then there's Al Pacino. I think I'm going to go in terms of, for the non-BLs, is my four inspirations, which is Robin Williams, Whoopi Goldberg, Dawn French, and Jennifer Saunders. Look them up. I think that's a really good idea. If I was to do that, if people want that, I would probably cut down on videos that I react to just so I can get some of these out, because obviously that would take a bit more of time to edit down. But I did just recently ask on Twitter if there was any really good BL novels for me to buy. I am kind of itching to buy a novel right now, or a few to read. Not sure about this. The enemies to lovers is one of the easiest ones to think about, because I think sometimes, including myself, we put too many labels on certain things and we think they're a trope. Hmm. I think I think enemies to lovers might be the one that seems to work the most, or the most common, so it sticks in my mind. Comedy, because if it comedy is very hard, and if comedy is good and it can make you laugh out loud a few times, they're doing their job. It's not actually easy to make you laugh, especially when you're by yourself. You will find it easier to laugh in a group of people because they're laughing too, compared to if you're by yourself. Plus, it's not as easy as you think. I would like more horror, but I'm not sure to what degree they would do it in. I'm not going to use the word disappointment. I think that's too strong. But a BL that I didn't enjoy as probably as much as a lot of people do is Until We Meet Again. If it was 3 episodes less and less about the cooking side and stuff like that, I think I would have enjoyed it more. And maybe if the characters, the side characters, were more fleshed out. And let me see. It's hard because that's Taiwan's. I think I haven't been disappointed in the Chinese shows, and I think Japan, so far from the ones I've watched, have done a really good job. Taiwan, um, yeah, I don't think I've been truly disappointed. I think in terms of the Filipino ones, I think My Day was a bit of a struggle, and I think there was a lot of variance. I think that was a bit hard, and in between. The villain is always fun, and I want a really evil villain. Like, I want someone so despicable that everyone despises them. And another support. I wouldn't mind also being, the supportive friend. Um, Maybe the one that kind of jokes and ribs you a little bit. I know that's what we see usually, but you need a layered support friend, right? And I think sometimes they do get that really well done. So maybe kind of the friend they come and talk to, maybe who's a bit kooky, maybe they could have a bit strange, maybe I live in a van. I was thinking about this question because I think it's a very good question. One that I was going to put in here was about the female characters. But I do actually think they're starting to make them better. They're making them more independent. They're not just using them as fodder. At least they're starting to step away from that. With still like a really villainous female character that's not an agent for the male character. I don't want her urgency to be about like an ex-boyfriend or something. I just want her to be evil. But I do think they're getting better in that sense. I think something that they do need to improve on is stop putting so many characters into your show that you don't use them. Stop underutilizing these actors and these characters. I think something they need to do is write less characters and flesh out the side characters. They have a problem, especially in Thailand, of not layering their side characters because they put them in an episode or something, but they're waiting to put them in a season two if they want a season two. They've got to think way more than just by seasons. Flesh out those characters, have these characters have an arc, and then when you go to them in season two, people know about them already. I think that's something that they really do need to change is these underwritten characters because you just don't care for them and you should. Another thing I think they can do, but this is a touchy subject in that it depends on how they do it, is more mature themes, which we are starting to see, but not shine away from them. Sometimes they're not going to be pretty, and it's going to be hard, but it's about how you write them as well, and how you adapt them from the novel. A big thing I do think that still needs to be changed is the representation of transgendered characters. Don't make them the butt of a joke, and also it's okay to not have all the leads be hyper masculine. There are layers to the spectrum of people. I think that's something that they do need to change. They need to stop thinking only masculine characters will appeal to their audience. As an audience, we are very varied, and there's a lot of us who have aged with the actors and the characters, so we would want more layers to what we're seeing and more representation. I think Sean and White, I rooted for and I enjoyed. Um, I did root for Singto and Artit, and then We Best Love. I think the main couple from that was really enjoyable for me. I really rooted for them and wanted them to work things out. And I think all of the couples in the Chinese dramas that I've watched. Let me leave that. What about what character you think I could play? Which existing character do you think I could do? Hmm. I struggle with that because there are so many characters, and it's pretty difficult because you have to kind of unlock the memory. But I think I'll leave that up to you. If you, why don't you give me suggestions? I mean, probably longer than I would have when I was younger. I am a city kid. There is all that, but get a mosquito net up with a bed in. There's fresh water. There's hiking, so you can work out. I don't know. I don't like kids. That's a bummer. But also, if you did need to use your phone or the internet, they did have a station there that you could plug stuff in or you could use it here and there. I think if I could use my phone to kind of game a little bit here and there, or maybe watch something here and there, I think I would be fine for quite a while. So cliche that it felt straight out of a movie. Hmm. Maybe. I feel like sometimes we have that little romance that feels very cliche, like the look, and then you feel like music is playing or water spurts behind you, like from a fountain, not directly onto you, because that would be not fun. But I don't think in general. I'm gonna say that, and someone's gonna tell me it has happened, and someone's gonna remind me, and I'm gonna be like, oh damn, I was wrong in this question. Never been in love. Dog. You know, why don't I leave that up to you? Is there a BL character you see me in? Wait, that sounds really wrong. But you know what I mean. What kind of, is there a BL character you're like, oh, he reminds me of that? Because I have no clue right now. I think graduating was a challenge for me because I had a lot of people not believing that I would graduate because for some reason people think I come off as very cavalier about education or just things in general as if I don't care. And it might be because I tend to have this type of look when I'm doing something sometimes. It's just how I look when I'm doing something. That was challenging. Um, I think setting this up, this channel originally was a challenge because it's putting yourself forward into that. I'm the type of person that when something's on my mind or if I need to rant, I just want to rant. And usually, if it's around someone, I just want to get it off my chest. Otherwise, I'll rant to myself and talk to myself. But I always tell people, just let me rant. It's usually not about you. And, and try not to like, interrupt or tell me to calm down and things like that because that riles me up even more. Like, I'm one of those people that if I just rant, I kind of let whatever steam I've got off, and then that's it. I don't I don't really like to do it in groups of people. I try to if I am upset, I do tend to try and keep to myself unless it's really getting to me or it just doesn't stop. Do you know when something's on your mind and it's like a whirlwind in your mind and you just have to say it out loud? But in a general sense, I would rather be by myself. I would rather be upset away from people and not have the intention on me. I can I can get emotional when an animal, say a dog, dies in a movie or something like that. For some reason, it really hits me. Animals dying. I can also, if I'm watching someone talk about a loved one that they've lost, for some reason that can really make me emotional. Especially if it's an elderly person, and you see those shows, and like one of them has breathing problems, and they're like 95, and they've been together since they were 16. Things like that can make me cry. Or episodes of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And if you've seen that show, you know exactly what episodes I'm talking about. To make me laugh, fastest way, just be funny. I do like dark humor, so that tends to make me laugh out loud. I think this the fastest way is just yeah, just if it's a TV show, it's just outright humor, and in person, I don't know. I feel like someone who's just there to make you smile. I guess it's just I like dark humor. So if you've got dark humor, we'll probably laugh about stuff together. I could talk about a lot with the worst experiences. I think the best is those who say it's like talking to a friend. I actually think that's really sweet and brings a smile because you don't expect that from people to say it's like talking to a friend. And especially those who say, I argue back with you, I agree with you, I disagree with you, and they enjoy it. I like that. I like knowing that, I can bring some sort of enjoyment for a little bit for someone. Or that they think it's like talking to a friend. I like that. I like the idea of that kind of comfortability where you feel like you're talking to a friend. I think the worst experience, there's many, is the nasty comments that people will leave, especially like if they don't agree with something that you say, there's a way to say you don't agree without needing to be rude. And I know it can be hard sometimes to understand someone's intentions just from typed words, but there are some people who are outright just really vile towards you when you do reactions. I'm also not. I think that's the worst experience is those type of comments, especially when they're trying to attack your character. I'm also not a fan of those who try to express their opinion as if it's a fact, It's an opinion, it's not a fact. Also, those who try to tell you about a scene or show as if they're the director or the actor, and they know every detail, you don't. You are just basing it off of your own viewing of a show. And that's when it becomes frustrating, when they try to dictate and police how you should watch or react or view a show. I think my biggest motivation is that I've got something to do when I record. Because if I'm not sending out self tapes for jobs or responding to jobs and stuff like that, or going to a care home and helping out with an old elderly neighbor, helping my mum who's disabled, then it's the idea of just being able to work, I think, motivates me. It's something to do so that I just don't feel bored and restless and useless. I have had my mom on one live, I've had my friend on a live, I've had my pets on my lives. I've also got one of my pets in part of my the Devil Judge, maybe episode 8 or 9 reaction. They're there for maybe like 15 minutes of it, near the closer to the end. In terms of actors, actresses, it would be quite fun. I don't know anyone who would watch a BL with me, but I also don't know because I could be I'm not like loud and over the top or vibrant in that way. So maybe it would be a nice contrast with them screaming and then me kind of watching and analyzing. But it would be nice to do that. I have done not a watch along or reaction with another reactor, but we've had a discussion about a show. That was fun to do. It's just working out the mechanics, isn't it, of getting it out. Ooh. Apart from when someone says it's like watching with a friend, there was a really lovely comment that I saw. I went to respond, it disappeared, and I looked for it again, found it, and then it disappeared again. And it's one of those comments when sometimes you don't even get a chance to respond to people, especially a long one. And it was about their, I guess, one of their first loves who was of the same sex, same gender. And it was a really touching story because it unfortunately didn't have a particularly happy ending for them. But I just thought it was really beautiful that they all felt free enough to express at this time in their life, at this period. It was while I was watching, I think it was I Told Sunset About You, or I Promised You the Moon. I think it was I Told Sunset About You. I just thought it was a really beautiful comment for them to open up. It was sad, but it was their story, and I hope it felt like a relief for them to tell it. Definitely not editing. I hate editing. If I could afford to pay for an editor, I would then discuss it with them, like the pay, and I would let them edit. I mean, I would probably still edit a little bit of the full reactions, but let them do it. I would love to have an editor. It would free up time so much that I could do so many more reactions and get them out. I do like doing the lives, though it can be hard because in my lives we tend to just have a conversation and ask questions, but obviously I can only respond to you via you typing. So it's trying to figure out what to do with lives. So sometimes a Q&A is really good or questionnaires, but I do like the lives. I think they could be fun, especially people trying to guess shows you like, characters you like that you dislike, making a little game out of it. Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I can honestly say that made me cry. I don't know about now. I'm not a big crier, which some people get really upset with me about in my reactions. It's just not me. It's not to say I don't feel the emotions and that something won't make me cry. If you catch me on a very down day, I think it's easier to make me cry. But Buffy the Vampire Slayer definitely made me cry. Exciting plot with a crappy ending. As much as I may hate the ending, if the rest of it is super exciting, I'm still going to go back and watch that. I can just leave out that element of the ending. Because if a show is really crappy but a great ending, you're not going to enjoy it if it's dull. You're just not. It's you're not even going to get to the end. I prefer exciting plot with a great ending, but it depends on what you consider great. But I'm definitely choosing that option. As I said, uh, Whoopi Goldberg, Robin Williams, Dawn French, and Jennifer Saunders have a huge soft spot in my heart. Plus Rick Mayall, Bette Midler, Tui Chang, who was the original Yellow Power Ranger in the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and I do love the cast of Schitt's Creek, Buffy, and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. So I feel like they have a little place in my heart because it brings me joy to watch their movies or their shows. It really does depend. I've been listening to a lot of En Vogue recently. I would say I listen to a lot of K-pop, but I also do like heavy metal rock, gothic rock. I listen to that a lot. I listen to Queen of the Damned soundtrack a lot. I'm hopefully going to see Evanescence in November. I think that it's definitely a mix up between K-pop and heavy metal and rock. We're only doing physicalities. Um, I don't usually go for someone over 173, which is 5'8". I'm not tall myself, so I don't really want someone very tall. Um, I don't know about criteria, but it's just things like that. I'm not into guys with long hair. It's just not something that for some reason I it appeals to me. I'm not sure what else in terms of physically. Maybe just those two things. I do think the series that you watch can influence that because when you see people repetitively on shows and you think they're attractive, it makes you think, oh, maybe there is more of a type around the world. I don't technically have a type. I don't feel I need to. I feel like there's so many people who are beautiful in this world, and not just physically, because that's just one aspect. Like your physical self, like how, like say someone's really handsome, looks can fade as you get older. It's for me the spirit of someone. So yeah, the shows can because you can find yourself attracted more to these people that you watch and realize, oh, maybe I didn't feel like that before, and now my eyes have been more opened and I'm more open minded. I personally don't have a preference. I really need to write one out. I don't. I think I've written one out before, but I don't remember it. I definitely want to go and explore Japan and do more traveling. I would love to go back to Oslo. Oh, just Norway in general. It was so beautiful. Maybe go back to Denmark because I never really got to experience it properly. Just I want to travel the world. I want to, and I want it to do it with a partner. I think that would be really a good way of bonding. I just need to get one of those first. But I think the top is honestly going to Japan. I would just love to go and just experience everything around it, travel around the countryside, the cities, experience stuff. Yeah. I have watched Kyoto Hatsukoi. That is finished. I'm trying to upload that. I'm up to episode 4, but it takes hours. It takes a whole day for me to try and get that done because you have to put a filter over it. You can only put a certain amount of seconds on here. You've got to make it blank. And even when you do that, it can get blocked. You have to turn the volume down. It's hard. But I definitely will be watching more. I also have Utsukushi Kari that I will be watching, and I'm sure other things. I've seen Cherry Magic. So there will be Japanese BLs. I haven't watched Heartstopper yet, but I will be watching it. And Young Royals, they are both on my list. And with Scum, yeah, I watched it when it first came, or season 3, when season 3 first came out. It was so well done. No wonder it spawned hundreds of spin offs from all around the world for it, or remakes, a lot of remakes from different countries. It is a really good show. Since doing reactions, no. If I'm doing a reaction to a show and that someone wants it, I will finish it, even if I'm not enjoying it, which can make me disappointed in myself because then I know people are looking forward to it. But I do have, quite thankfully, a nice amount of watchers, subscribers who understand if it's not for me, but I always try and finish a show. Always try. Because I feel like even if you dislike it, you are you you've got to finish it. At least in my opinion, you have to. I've never not watched one since doing reactions. And that is it, everyone. Thank you for my Q&As, and I hope you enjoyed.